Hey guys, Scott back again with a new beer dissection video. What I have today, let me get right to it, is from New Belgium, Voodoo Ranger Fruit Force IPA. Okay, you know, the New Belgium brand was bought out several years ago by Big Beer. I believe it was Lion Beverage in Australia. I could be mistaken, which is a subsidiary of Kirin Beer. The Voodoo Ranger brand has been around for a while. Usually when you think of Voodoo Ranger, you think of IPAs. And this one sounds like the Juice Force, right? The Juice Force is an orange can. I've done a bunch of beer dissections on this brand, as well as I think I've even did a couple of beer face-offs comparing different IPAs with this brand too. So, you know, my impression with Voodoo Ranger is they make solid IPAs. I mean, they're not going to put all your big boys in New England and other parts of the country that brew phenomenal, you know, hazies and juicies and New England IPAs and West Coast IPAs out of business. But I find they're so easily available at your local supermarket even. You don't have to go to your local beer store that, you know, if you're in a pinch and you need to get some beers for the house and you're at the grocery store and you're like, hey, let me grab something off the shelf. That's why I brew. This is why I do reviews on these types of beers and not just these small little, you know, micro nano breweries. Because, you know, you may need to pick up a beer and you want to kind of know what it tastes like. And for the most part, I've been happy with it. There have been some that have been, you know, hot and cold depending on the style or how it was just brewed. So, you know, check those beer dissections out if you are interested in it. I think I've done the Imperial IPA and a bunch of others, Juice Force, things like that. So I always feel these are solid IPAs, nice to have as a standby. You don't want to spend $25 for 4 packs every single time. Usually you can pick up a 12-pack of the Voodoo Ranger brand for usually $20 for a 12-pack, you know, and you can do your math. But anyway, this one, which I've never had before, you know, I always had to double check myself because it's the same skeleton guy on the cover. They all look the same. I definitely do not have Fruit Force though. This is their Fruit Punch IPA. It's, of course, this is the big cans, okay? And it's coming in at 9.5% alcohol, so I'm probably gonna have to take a nap after doing this video. Nothing too much else other than, yeah, they are, I think, originally out of Colorado. I think they still brew in Colorado. I think Fort Collins and outside of Asheville, North Carolina. And I'm sure it's here somewhere, even Michigan. Okay, so they are technically big beer, and that does not mean that the beer is going to be bad. You know, everyone thinks that just because big beer brands, whether it's AB and Bev, you know, they go in, they buy out a local small brewery. Similar here, Blue Point was bought out here in Patchogue on Long Island by AB and Bev, Blue Point Brewing Company. Yeah, and for the most part, from what I've read and learned, that, you know, a lot of times they keep the same brewers, but then they have extra money influx, and they can actually be a little more experimental with beer. So a lot of times for the consumer, it's a good thing. But there are times, though, that I'm sure there are shortcuts, or they just pillage the entire brewery and get rid of people, and things would change. So this is not a video about that, but I just want to mention, you know, like, you're like, Scott, you do a lot of Voodoo Ranger, New Belgium, that's big beer, that's not craft beer. I feel, again, for informing people about when they're at the grocery store, what they're looking at and what they're buying I think is good, as well as, you know, I can't just do small microbreweries, okay? A lot of people find these very popular, okay? So anyway, guys, let's crack this bad boy open. Voodoo Ranger Fruit Force Fruit Punch IPA. And without further ado, let's get this open. So 9.5%. This is going to be pretty hefty, okay? So, all right, let's see what we got here. I'm just doing it in my one of my tulip glasses. I call it the tulip / modified Spiegler glass. So what do we have here? I think the beer got shaken up a little bit, but we got a lot of foam, right? A lot of head. That's not a knock to the beer. That's just my pouring. And I think this was getting knocked around in the refrigerator a little bit just before I opened it or set up for this video. So several inches. Let's just look at the you know, white nature of the foam. Maybe a slight tinge of like a tan color to it. for the most part white, pretty tight bubbles on top, a little bit of frothing, which is always nice to see. I like that. The proteins and suspension and things like that help sustain that. I don't know the grist, especially on beers like this that are big beer. But some of these IPAs, remember, if you've watched more than one of my videos, you understand, maybe some unmalted wheat or wheat, sometimes oats create some of the haziness you'll get in these IPAs sometimes, as well as the hops, of course, and the polyphenols create the haziness. But that's pretty much it. So anyway, let's look at the color. All right. There's a little bit of a, not a haze, but condensation on the glass. So you can't see through completely, but for the most part, kind of a light gold, dark straw color. Little haze. Okay. Again, I don't know if they are using some of that wheat that creates some of the haze, as well as the hop matter and polyphenols from that. So anyway, pretty nice looking beer. Anyway, so let's take a sniff of the aroma. Oh, wow. It actually smells pretty good. You got a little citrus, orange, I guess, a little mandarin orange, lemon, like orange zest. There's definitely a tropical fruit character to it too, a little pineapple, mango. I'm even getting maybe a slight white grape. But it's almost smelling like Jolly Ranchers, like you have that, even though we don't perceive sweetness on the nose, you get that, impression that this is going to be pretty sweet from just the aroma here. Just want to go back to it again. Yeah, it's just kind of got that tropical little citrus, no grapefruit. I even get like a little bit of like a strawberry, aroma to it. Almost like it was like a bubblegum type of strawberry bubblegum. Okay, but it smells nice. Definitely if you like fruit beers and fruit aromas and citrus and tropical fruit. So far, the aroma's pretty good. On the malt though, again, pretty basic white bread, maybe a subtle toast, but that's about it. Maybe a little Ritz cracker type of aroma. All right, guys, so cheers. Let's take a swig of this. Whoa. Definitely sweet. A lot of residual sweetness is the first thing I got when I was drinking it. It almost felt like it was going down. The carbonation may have lost a little bit since I poured it. It's actually kind of just a moderate carbonation, and I think that's why I lost a little bit. So this is very cloyingly sweet here, and a lot of residual sweetness. So when I was drinking it, it was almost like I was drinking like liquid Jolly Ranchers. You still get that little tropical fruit mango, little citrus, slight mandarin. This is pretty full-bodied. I'm not going to say it's as full-bodied as Imperial Stout. 9.5% alcohol. It's carrying quite a punch. Just kind of moderate bitterness. Not getting that as much as you would think for an IPA like this with that much alcohol percentage in there to balance it. But it's almost hard to get past the cloyingly sweet beer this is. Okay, I'm almost getting on my lips like I was just like gnawing on cotton candy or something sticky, or I had like a lollipop and I got it all over my lips. It's kind of sticky. That's not what the residual sweetness is on this. So again, I'm sure they're trying to achieve that tropical fruit punch nature to it, which they're probably being successful. But it's almost like the Hawaiian punch or any of those highly sugared fruit juices, and maybe you mix it in with a little carbonation. Even when I keep going back to it, there's that hint of orange, mango, even a little pineapple, things like that. Tropical fruit, again, a little citrus with the mandarin orange. Again, does it taste good? It tastes good. But to me, it's just a little over the top with the sweetness. I wish they could have just attenuated. It's 9.5% alcohol, so obviously yeast we're eating through a lot of the sugars. I wish it was a little bit more attenuated, meaning that the sugars eat a little more, the yeast eat a little more of the sugars, dries the beer out just a little bit more, just for my personal taste. Because again, it's like high C, or those, name your sugared, artificially sweetened sometimes fruit juices in your grocery store, and you throw a lot of alcohol in it. On that note, there is some alcoholic warmth to it. Not solventy. I don't think it's over the top, the warmth, which is good, but you do get a little bit of the warmth there. At 9.5%, that's pretty standard too. And I usually, if you watch more than a few videos of mine, I talk about, for me, I kind of pick it up around 7.5 to 8. So that's not a knock to the beer. It's not solventy. It just gives you that normal warmth. The other thing is that sorry, I had one of my machines going off whistling there in the back. But, the good things are, if you like that fruit type of beer, tropical fruit, citrus, you have it here. The negative is definitely for my taste, just overpowering. I don't think Juice Force is as sweet as this one is. This one does, I think, rank a little bit more with their Imperial IPA. Remember that one being kind of like, I think I may have even used a description like Jolly Ranchers, sugar Jolly Ranchers in a liquid, because it was just so sweet. Pairing, I'm not going to spend too much time on pairing. With most of my IPAs, I really like, Jamaican, Cuban, Spanish food, Mexican dishes. Think of it, anything with fruit that you would add to it with chutneys. Even some fishes. Even though this is a very strong, powerful beer, you may even get away with like a cod or something like that. I don't think it would overpower that too much. So anyway, guys, it's just one of those all right beers. So the beer dissections, Voodoo Ranger Fruit Force IPA. I'm sure I'll have it over my shoulder, as I have been already. Grade-wise, overall drinkability, I gotta bring the drinkability down a little bit, like to a C+, B- for me. I mean, it's okay. It's just so damn sweet. That it doesn't appeal to me too much. But if you like that type, then all for it. And definitely feel free to chime in if you disagree at the bottom. For general IPAs, I'm gonna still kind of keep it, C+ range. Definitely not nearly as good as a lot of the, Hill Farmstead, Equilibrium, Treehouse. It's definitely not those, or even my local guys here. Definitely doesn't match up to it. But I think if you're in a pinch and you see this, sometimes this may be part of a compilation pack, or the other ones that are a little sweet too. It's not bad to just grab. I'm sure your house guests would drink it with no problem at all. Definitely drink this carefully at 9.5%, even though I have a tall boy here. So anyway, guys, Voodoo Ranger Fruit Force. Let me go one more time. Just think of like carbonated, melted, like Jolly Rancher fruit, or taking that local fruit juice and just putting a little alcohol in it with some carbonation, and it's just kind of that right there. But it does have the mango, the little pineapple, orange, citrus, neutral malt, which a lot of these IPAs have these days. Very neutral, not much malt backbone to it at all, and some alcoholic heat to it, but not solventy, which is good. So anyway, guys, I'm just kind of not really that impressed with this one, as you probably already could tell. But anyway, till the next beer dissection video, or any beer video in general, guys, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.